Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. Some days back, Professor Wole Soyinka had challenged the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dr. Yusuf Datti, on a lot of things he believed would clear the air, one-on-one challenge, so to speak. Of course, at some point, there were a lot of insinuations that Yusuf Datti may be taking up that offer. Well, as we speak, Labour Party, via their spokesperson, and their media coverage have decided to clear the air on this matter once and for all. And what they say is enough for most Nigerians to begin to ponder what is really the next move ahead. Now, I was going to find out what it is they said to not just to Wole Soyinka, to those who love Wole Soyinka, those who love Nigeria, and those who want the peace of the country. But before we go into the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You say bell notification icon, please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, according to Dr. Yusuf Datti, he said, like many Nigerians, we are bewildered by the late hour intervention of our respected Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka in issues around the flawed 2023 elections. Where was he all this while? He asked. One of those who should ordinarily and rightfully be honored as the conscience of the nation. Professor Wole Soyinka is now criminalizing dissent and, in fact, weighing in on the side of fraud and injustice. We state, therefore, that the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, Dr. Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, cannot take up Professor Soyinka's offer of a public debate not out of cowardice but for cultural and political reasons. Culturally, it's just not decent. It's not decent. Their age and accomplishment gaps taken into account, for Datti to sit opposite the 88 years old global icon and point out his folly to his face. Even if the old man called for it, and politically there is no basis for such a challenge, in that Professor Soyinka is not on any of the opposition or opposite ballots. If, however, he can use his influence to drag his preferred candidate, who resisted debate throughout the campaign, to the studio this second, Datti says he's more than willing to take them on, meaning that all he's asking for, he's not going to go on any debate with Professor Wole Soyinka. But if Wole Soyinka can use his influence to drag that his preferred candidate, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to come out for debate that he never agreed to do during his campaign period, then why not? Dr. Yusuf that is more than able to take up the challenge. But other than that, if it's on the grounds of just let us have the tata, let's just begin to just gist or have some fun or talk. Besides, you're not even in the ballot. You're not the vice presidential candidate. You are not the presidential candidate. You are just probably a man of influence who have accomplished so much. Don't forget that this is a global icon we're talking about. Allowing himself to be dragged to politics or within politics doesn't speak well. Of course, many Nigerians have taken to their social media handle to react to this last minute decline offer coming from Dr. Yusuf Datti on the challenge made by Professor Wole Soyinka. Now let's feel the pulse of Nigerians. But some Nigerians are giving a better offer. They're saying, why don't we have something like a debate between Shetima versus Yusuf Datti, Peter Obi versus Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Wole Soyinka versus Chimamanda. Okay, but let me quickly come in here. Wole Soyinka and Chimamanda have nothing to do with politics. They are just mentioning and speaking about their preferred candidate. They are not even in the ballot. But yes, one would really be looking forward to Shetima versus Datti and Peter Obi versus Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But that will never happen, because even the time when they needed it the most, which was the campaign period, they vehemently did not show their faces in any campaign and any interview or debate whatsoever. Instead, they were always granting, whenever they're doing their campaign, they just call their preferred TV station to air it. So that may not be happening anytime soon. Besides, the elections are over. So what are we doing debating again for? And another person here says, I will forever be proud of obedience. They are matured, peaceable, reasonable with that veiled violence. Bravo, Doc. I hail him too. I must give it to him. And that person here says, since Baba Wole Soyinka wants to do debate on behalf of BAT, please be obedient as spokespersons to debate on behalf of Datti too. We are ready. No, nobody wants to take on. See, I think I respect Yusuf Datti for what he has done, not because he cannot. We have heard Yusuf Datti speak. That man does not fear. Is a very bold man. Where Peter is subtle, Peter will be subtle. Yusuf Datti is very, permit me to use the word, even confrontational. What you call cowardice is what he would tell you that is not sure. He will, without caring whose as being God. I think to a great extent, it's a blend, a fine blend between a subtly gentle but yet respectful man and someone who can take on anyone, but out of respect, culturally so, I must say. And in all honesty, sometimes politics can make us sometimes not use our brain to think. We're just going on ethnical lines, on personal gains and all that. If not, every eye could see it. A lot of people called out Professor Wole Soyinka on his stand of fascism. His stand on fascism didn't make any sense at all. What would you say, to the point that old videos of APC, of what they said during the same period when they were doing elections, was far worse than what even Obidien didn't even say anything. And then I bring it into this picture. Let them just ask some the same question they used to ask: where was he when the elections were flawed? Where was he when MC Oluomo was talking? He never condemned it. He just said it casually. He said, okay, it's condemnable. Very polished in the use of English, in the use of his words, and all that. And other issues that should be source of concern as a man of influence, he played it down. Okay, so yes, to a great extent, it's a cause for concern. I guess that's one of the reasons why the likes of Chimamanda have also decided to speak up on this matter, because he believed people of influence, is some persons are tilting towards it, and we of all men of influence should start talking. And they should start, because let's not look as if Nigerians are blinded by some particular lines. So yes, I do respect Yusuf Datti for making that stand, respecting his age. After all, Professor Wole Soyinka is not even on the ballot. So what are you dragging him for? He's not Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If it was Bola Ahmed Tinubu that said, my father, even me myself, I'll be hurrying to air that particular interview. But of course, it's not gonna happen, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu have said it countless time without number that he will not be doing such a town hall meetings or granting such debates. So yes, quite a lot of person have been complaining about that. Another person is saying, well, another person is saying, now it's obvious to everyone that Tinubu's camp actually sent Professor Wole Soyinka to bully Datti Ahmed and obedience movement. It's indeed a shame that this is happening, and Professor Soyinka is allowing himself to be used against the youth of this generation. Oh dear. Another person here says, Doctor, I don't think this response is even necessary. Some things are better ignored. It's given that Datti has no business debating Professor Soyinka. The debate should have been with Shetima if they had the courage to turn up when it was needed, which they clearly didn't. Alright, that's going to wrap it up. Let's put it up.